This is Seawolves. Storm? Or not.
Good post-Thanksgiving morning, Seawolves. I'm Christine Kelly. I hope you've recovered from your tryptophan hangover after all that Thanksgiving turkey, or if you're vegetarian or vegan, squash syndrome. You need to get those chemicals out of your system to prepare for the last stretch of the semester. This is my final semester before I cast myself into the abyss of employment after graduation, and to be honest with you, I am absolutely terrified. But I'm less terrified than I would be without the cooperation of students from the School of Communications and Journalism and the School of Marine and Atmospheric Sciences, who joined together to produce this show. And students like us are all alarmed by what happened to our fellow collegians in Burlington, Vermont. 3 college students visiting friends at the University of Vermont, all of them of Palestinian descent, were shot for no apparent reason except wearing Palestinian headscarves. Police quickly arrested the suspected shooter, but the fear of ethnic hatred does remain. And Attorney General Merrick Garland this morning pointed out,
all of us have also seen a sharp increase in the volume and frequency of threats against Jewish, Muslim, and Arab communities across our country since October 7th. There is understandable fear in communities across the country. Even as we speak, the ATF and the FBI are investigating the tragic shooting of 3 men of Palestinian descent in Vermont. That investigation, including whether this is a hate crime, is ongoing.
And ongoing, too, is the more peaceful, delicate dance by diplomats to exchange hostages during the ceasefire in Gaza. Tearful embraces as hostages freed by Hamas reunited with family members in Israel over the weekend. Sunday, the terror group handed over a third round of hostages, this time as many as 17. Among them was 4-year-old American citizen Abigail Moore Adan, whose parents were killed during the October 7th attacks.
It's very important to let her be now with the family.
In a video message, the young girl's aunt thanked everyone for their support and asked for privacy. The White House says President Biden spoke with Abigail's family by phone yesterday after her release.
We will not stop working until every hostage is returned to their loved ones.
The president also had a call with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. He says he told Biden that he would welcome an extension of the temporary ceasefire in exchange for the release of an additional 10 Israeli hostages per day. Netanyahu also says his country's fight against Hamas will restart in full force once the pause is over. Cheers erupted in the West Bank for another group of 39 Palestinians who were freed from Israeli prisons yesterday. And we've just learned that there's been an agreement to continue the truce for another 48 hours, and with it, the exchange of hostages. That may be the first good news of the day. To find out more about how our Monday is shaping up, let's go to journalism student Ao Kwan, who's covering the weather. Ao?
Thanks, Christine. The storm last night marked the end of the Thanksgiving break. The rain washed the holidays as well as our happiness. Is everybody ready for the final? Luckily, the weather today is less depressing. Today's weather is high 54 and low 32, and the wind is 14 miles per hour. Back to you, Christine.
Thanks, Ao. It's so bright that I know my vulnerable eyes are gonna need a little shielding. And speaking of brightness, here's the bright star of our sports department with her famous segment, Ballin' with Brittany. Brittany?
Thanks, Christine. Welcome to Ballin' with Brittany, where I update you on the latest Stony Brook sports. Last Wednesday, the women's basketball team crushed the Delaware State Hornets 86-41 behind Gigi Gonzalez's first career double-double. But sadly, they finally suffered their first loss of the year on Sunday when they lost to the Minnesota Golden Gophers 67-54. They will return to Island Federal Arena this Saturday with a matchup against Buffalo at 1 p.m. As for the men who played after our last broadcast, they held on to a slim lead against Ryder despite their shooting struggles. Aaron Clark topped the scoring effort with 13 points and 3 steals to lead the men to a 55-48 triumph. They will return to action on Wednesday against Yale up in Connecticut. That's all I have for you. Now let's take a look at what the weather looks like for the rest of the week. John Tafe has more.
Thanks, Brittany. It's another SB-beautiful day here at Stony Brook and just down the road in Port Jefferson, as you can see behind me, courtesy of EarthCam. As for the weather, today we will have a high of 54 with a low of 32 under sunny skies with a bit of a breeze. Tuesday turns colder with a high of 39 and a low of 25, and it will be windy, so watch out for wind chills as low as 15 miles per hour. Bundle up, Seawolves. Wednesday, sunny again with a high of 38 and a low of 30. Thursday, we have sunny conditions again with a high of 49 and a low of 38. Friday, our first chance of showers with a high of 55 and a low of 40. The weekend starts off nice Saturday with sunny conditions with a high of 50 and a low of 33. But Sunday, you may have a damper to your plans with a chance of rain with a high of 48 and a low of 44. Now, it sure seems like we're getting to the bitter part of the semester. That's weather-wise. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks for helping us stay prepared, John. Speaking of being prepared, there are two kinds of people. People who have had a hard drive crash and people who will have one. So as we're nearing the semester, make sure that you back up your data. Now let's go back to where we started. There's a little good news in the Middle East. I'm encouraged by the return of hostages, both Palestinian and Israeli. But I'd be more encouraged by the release of all hostages on both sides. Maybe people will get exhausted by the conflict and we'll see a revival of the two-state solution. In the meantime, keep watching for more updates. I'm Christine Kelly, and this is Seawolves Storm or Not.
This is Seawolves Storm or Not.